Welcome. Take a deep breath and let yourself settle in. We're going to explore the gentle world of quokkas together, sharing this moment with another, or joining our growing flock of quiet dreamers. Comment your favorite animal and I might include it in the next video. Let's begin with the quokka itself. These remarkable little creatures measure between 40 and 54 centimeters in length. That's about 16 to 21 inches. Just imagine. A creature small enough to curl up comfortably in your lap. They weigh between 2.5 to 5 kilograms, or 5.5 to 11 pounds. About the weight of a small house cat. The quokka also has a short tail, measuring 25 to 30 centimeters. A distinctive feature that sets them apart, perfect in its proportion. Now, picture the quokka's form. They have a stocky build, compact and sturdy. Their hind legs are powerful, built for hopping across the landscape. Notice their rounded ears, soft and expressive, and their fur, coarse brown fur covering their body, lightening to a paler shade underneath. Nature's gentle gradient, each detail perfectly designed. You're doing beautifully, allowing yourself this time to rest, to learn, to simply be. Your mind is absorbing these gentle images, and with each fact, you're drifting deeper into relaxation. There's such wisdom in allowing yourself to slow down like this, to breathe, to rest. Here's something special about quokkas. Unlike their typical kangaroo cousins, quokkas possess a unique ability. They can climb trees and shrubs, reaching heights of up to 1.5 meters. Can you picture it? This small, sturdy creature, pulling itself up into the branches, finding its own path, adapting to its world. There's something peaceful about that image, something calming. Let's journey now to where the quokkas live. They are primarily found on Rottnest Island and Bald Island, small islands off the coast of Western Australia. With a small population remaining on the mainland, these are their sanctuaries, their safe havens. And when do they emerge? Mainly at night, under the cover of darkness. They become active. These nocturnal herbivores move quietly through their world, eating leaves, grass, and shrubs. Simple sustenance, peaceful existence. Notice how calm you're becoming, how your breathing has slowed, softened. You're exactly where you need to be, learning at your own pace, drifting at your own rhythm. Each word is like a gentle wave, washing over you, carrying you deeper into tranquility. You're doing everything right, simply by being here, simply by listening. During the day, quokkas have a special hiding place. They tuck themselves away in the spiky Acanthocarpus pricei plants. These thorny plants provide protection, a safe shelter from the heat, from predators. And here's something remarkable. Quokkas can survive without food or water for periods of time. They store fat in their tails, nature's perfect design, a built-in reserve, allowing them to endure, to persist, to thrive even in challenging conditions. The tail that seemed simply decorative serves such an important purpose. And finally, let's explore how quokkas bring new life into the world. They engage in promiscuous mating, moving between partners, ensuring genetic diversity. The female quokka gives birth to a single joey. After just 1 month of gestation, 1 short month, and new life arrives. This tiny joey, fragile and developing, stays protected in its mother's pouch for 6 months, safe, warm, growing stronger each day, until it's ready to emerge and explore the world, a complete cycle of life, unfolding in its own perfect time. You've absorbed so much, and you've done it so peacefully. Your mind is open, receptive, and deeply relaxed. Feel how heavy your body has become, how comfortable, how ready for rest. You're giving yourself exactly what you need, and that's beautiful. Let's reflect gently on what we've discovered. The quokka, a small, stocky marsupial, 16 to 21 inches of compact strength, weighing no more than 11 pounds, with their rounded ears and brown fur. They climb where other kangaroos cannot, living on islands off Western Australia. They emerge at night to feed peacefully on plants. During the day, they rest in thorny shelter, their tails storing precious reserves, and they bring forth their young. A single joey, nurtured in the pouch for half a year. Breathe in these images, and as you breathe out, let them settle softly in your mind, like leaves coming to rest on still water. Travel back in time with me to the year 1658, Dutch explorers sailing along the Western Australian coast, encountering creatures they'd never seen before. In the fading light, they spotted small, furry animals moving through the brush, and they mistook them for rats, or perhaps cats. Imagine their confusion. These unfamiliar shapes in an unfamiliar land, and so they named the island Rotnest, meaning rat's nest in Dutch, a case of mistaken identity that gave the island its name, a name that persists more than 360 years later, history unfolding from a simple misunderstanding. Now let's consider the quokkas' journey through time. Their individual journey. The average lifespan of a quokka in the wild is 10 years, a decade of seasons, of nights foraging and days resting, though some quokkas reach 15 years, surpassing expectations, living longer, persisting. These elder quokkas, carrying years of experience, wisdom written into their movements. Imagine 15 years on a small island, witnessing the same stars, the same ocean, the comfort of the familiar. You're settling deeper now, your body growing heavier with each passing moment. Feel how your shoulders have dropped, how your jaw has loosened. You're allowing this experience to wash over you. And there's such peace in that, such gentle wisdom in surrender. You're doing remarkably well. Just listening, just breathing, just being. But the Quokkas story holds sadness too. Over the past decades, their populations have declined by more than 50%. Half of what once was now gone. Habitat loss has taken its toll, and predators, introduced by humans, have hunted them. Because of this decline, Quokkas are classified as vulnerable, at risk, needing protection, yet they persist, they endure, and we notice them. We care, we work to preserve them. There's hope in that awareness. And oh, how noticed they have become. Quokkas are famous now. Famous for selfies with tourists on Rottnest Island. These friendly creatures, with their upturned mouths that look like smiles, approach visitors, curious, unafraid. People from around the world capture photographs. Quokka and human, side by side. These images spread across the internet, boosting the Quokkas' celebrity status, turning them into ambassadors for their species, little social media stars, bringing joy to millions, never aggressive, just present, just themselves, a simple creature creating connection. Notice the rhythm of your breathing now, how natural it's become, how effortless. You don't have to try. Your body knows what to do, just as you're absorbing these facts without effort, letting them drift through your consciousness like clouds across a peaceful sky. You're in perfect harmony with this moment, and that's exactly as it should be. Rest into that. Trust that. Now we must speak of something difficult, something that shows nature's harsh calculus of survival. When a mother quokka is being chased by a predator, when danger is imminent, she has an extreme defense mechanism. She can eject her joey from her pouch. The small joey falls to the ground, creating a distraction, and the mother escapes. Sounds cruel, but there's logic in evolution's design. The mother can breed again, can produce more young, survival of the parent, ensuring the continuation of the species. Nature is neither kind nor unkind. It simply is, and in that truth, there's a strange peace. But quokkas have gentler adaptations too. They practice something called embryonic diapause. Let those words roll over you. Embryonic diapause. After mating, after an egg is fertilized, the female quokka can delay its implantation, pause the pregnancy, waiting until conditions improve for raising young. If food is scarce, if water is limited, if the timing isn't right, she waits. The fertilized egg remains dormant, suspended, until the world is ready to welcome new life. What wisdom, what patience built into biology itself, waiting for the right moment, trusting in time. Your mind is so quiet now, so still, like a pond at dawn. Each fact creates just the smallest ripple, and then settles, and there's stillness again. You're learning without strain, resting without resistance. This is your time, your space, and you're filling it with exactly what serves you. Gentle knowledge, peaceful rest. You're doing everything perfectly. And these patient females are remarkably productive. Over a lifetime, a female quokka can produce about 17 joeys, 17 small lives brought into the world. She breeds twice yearly, if conditions allow, working with the rhythm of seasons, the rhythm of her own body. 17 chances, 17 small bundles of fur and potential, though not all will survive. The mother tries, again and again, life flowing through her, generation after generation. Watch a quokka move, and you'll notice something familiar. They hop like rabbits, using those powerful hind legs we learned about earlier, bounding forward, compact and efficient, and as they navigate through the bushes, moving along their regular routes, they create trails, rabbit-like trails worn into the earth, paths of repetition, of habit, of countless quokkas following the same routes, night after night, year after year. There's something meditative about that. The same path, the same motion, over and over, like a walking meditation or a breathing practice, repetition creating peace. Feel how far you've drifted now, how distant the day's concerns have become. You're here in this quiet space, learning about small creatures on a distant island, and nothing else matters right now. Your body is so relaxed, your mind so calm. You've created this sanctuary for yourself, and you deserve it, every bit of this peace. You've earned it simply by being here, simply by allowing. During the dry seasons, when water becomes scarce, quokkas must adapt their behavior. They gather around freshwater sources, congregating at the few remaining pools, the precious springs, social distancing forgotten in the necessity of survival, and they expand their ranges, traveling farther, searching wider for the resources they need, flexible, adaptable, doing what must be done. And when the rains return, when water is plentiful again, they disperse once more, spreading across their territory, life expanding and contracting, like breath itself, in and out, gathering and dispersing. Finally, we encounter mystery. Some quokkas develop a condition called muscular dystrophy. Their muscles weaken, growing less effective over time, creating challenges for movement, for survival, and researchers don't fully understand why. It's not fully understood. Some questions remain unanswered, some puzzles unsolved, and perhaps there's peace in accepting mystery, in not needing to know everything. Some things simply are observed but not explained, known but not understood, like consciousness itself, like sleep. We experience them without fully comprehending them. You've journeyed so far with me, absorbed so much, and you've remained so beautifully present. Even as you drift towards sleep, your consciousness floating, suspended between waking and dreaming. This is the perfect state, peaceful, receptive, calm. Let yourself linger here. There's no rush, nowhere to be. You're exactly where you belong. The quokka, first seen by Dutch eyes in 1658, mistaken for rats, giving rottenness its name, living 10 to 15 years. Though their numbers have fallen, declined by half, making them vulnerable, yet they've found fame through selfies and smiles, tourist companions, and their survival strategies run deep. Mothers sacrificing joeys to escape danger, delaying pregnancies until conditions improve, producing 17 joeys across a lifetime, twice yearly when possible, hopping like rabbits, creating worn trails, gathering at water in drought, dispersing in plenty, some afflicted by muscular dystrophy, a mystery not yet solved. All of this, the quokka's story, unfolding on small islands under Australian stars. Breathe it all in and let it settle, like dust motes drifting down through still air, finding rest. Continue breathing softly, deeply. Let's drift further into the quokka's world, discovering how they adapt, how they survive, how they live. Our world is changing, warming, and the quokka feels this change. Since the 1970s, temperatures have been rising across southwest Australia, across the quokka's home, and as the mercury climbs, as the heat intensifies, the quokka's suitable habitat shrinks, contracts, pulls inward. Areas that once sustained them become too hot, too dry, too hostile. The range narrows, the safe zones diminish, climate itself reshaping the boundaries of where they can survive, the earth warming and the quokka adapting or trying to. And with rising temperatures come other dangers, bushfires, sweeping across the landscape, flames consuming vegetation, consuming habitat. These fires pose severe risks to quokka populations. Because quokkas recover slowly from intense burns, their small bodies vulnerable, their populations concentrated. A single fire can devastate an entire colony, and the recovery, measured in years, in generations. The land must regrow, the food sources must return, and the quokkas must rebuild their numbers, slowly, gradually, one joey at a time, nature's pace, which cannot be rushed, cannot be hurried. Your breathing has become so rhythmic now, so steady, like gentle waves upon a shore, each breath carrying you deeper into relaxation, into peace. You're releasing the day, releasing all tension, simply floating on these words, on these images. There's such grace in how you've surrendered to this moment. Allow yourself to sink even deeper. You're safe here, so safe. On Rottnest Island, the Quokkas predators are few. In fact, snakes are their sole natural predator there, slithering through the brush, silent hunters. But this is paradise compared to the mainland, where foxes prowl and feral cats stalk, introduced predators, invasive species that hunt the quokka relentlessly. On the mainland, survival is harder, more precarious. The island offers sanctuary, relative safety, just the snakes to avoid, just one threat instead of many. The island as refuge, as fortress, surrounded by protective ocean. But quokkas face competition among themselves too. Dominant males fight for the best shelters, confronting each other, testing strength, establishing hierarchies based on size. The larger male typically wins, claiming the superior hiding spot, the better protection, and the smaller males, they yield, finding shelter elsewhere, accepting their place in the social order. No fight to the death, just a shuffling of positions, an acknowledgement of reality, and this hierarchy maintains itself day after day. The dominant resting in comfort, the subordinate making do, nature's inequality, its pecking order, established and accepted. Feel how heavy your eyelids have become, how difficult to keep them open, and that's perfectly fine. Close them if you wish, or let them rest half closed. However feels natural, you're doing beautifully. Absorbing these facts even as you drift towards sleep. Your subconscious is listening, learning, even as your conscious mind floats away. This is exactly right, exactly as it should be. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Now let's explore how quokkas digest their food. And this is fascinating. They have two stomachs, not one, but two chambers for processing what they eat. Picture this. The quokka finds a leaf and swallows it whole. Down into the first stomach it goes. There, in that first chamber, the food is broken down, decomposed, softened, and then it moves to the second stomach for further processing, extracting every nutrient, every bit of energy. It's similar to how a giraffe chews its cud. But without the regurgitation, the quokka doesn't bring the food back up, processes everything internally, efficiently, two stomachs working in harmony, maximizing nutrition from sparse vegetation. And the quokkas' teeth, perfectly designed for their diet, they have broad, flat molars. Think of grinding stones, mill wheels. These molars grind tough foliage effectively, crushing stems, pulverizing leaves, extracting maximum moisture and nutrients from everything they consume. Nothing wasted. Every leaf, every blade of grass, crushed and processed, wringing out sustenance, the moisture essential, the nutrients precious. Their teeth evolved over millennia, shaped by the demands of their environment, worn smooth by endless grinding, perfect tools for a herbivore's life. You've traveled so deep into relaxation now, your body so still, so calm, like a lake without wind, smooth, peaceful, reflective. Each word I speak creates barely a ripple. You're that still, that tranquil, and this is your achievement. You've created this peace, this sanctuary within yourself. Well done. So well done. Continue resting. Continue floating. There's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to go. Through their habitat, quokkas have created something remarkable. Extensive networks of paths and runways, trails worn through dense vegetation like a subway system or a highway network. Designed for quick travel, they use these paths for feeding, moving from food source to food source, and for escaping predators. When danger appears, they know exactly where to run, which path to take, muscle memory guiding them through the maze. These networks, created over generations, each quokka following where others have gone before, wearing the path deeper, making it clearer, a collective infrastructure built without planning, without coordination, just countless quokkas walking the same routes, night after night, year after year. And what do they seek along these paths? Fresh growth, young plants, tender and green. Quokkas prefer browsing on new vegetation. Native grasses just sprouted, young stems, fresh bark, over mature vegetation which is tougher, more fibrous, harder to digest. They're selective eaters, seeking quality over quantity. The young growth is more nutritious, easier to process, more palatable, like choosing spring vegetables over winter storage crops. There's wisdom in seeking freshness, in preferring the new, the vital, the life-filled. Notice how your thoughts have slowed, how they drift by lazily, without urgency, without demanding attention. You're in that beautiful space between waking and sleeping, that liminal zone of pure peace, and you're navigating it perfectly, with such natural grace. Your body knows how to rest. Your mind knows how to quiet. You're remembering the ancient art of simply being, and it's beautiful to witness, even in yourself. When it's time to rest, quokkas don't build nests, no construction, no weaving, no architecture. Instead, they shelter in what nature provides. Small caves, hollowed spaces in rocks, or thick shrubbery. Dense tangles of branches and leaves, these natural shelters offer camouflage. The quokka's brown fur blending with earth and bark, invisible to passing predators, and protection too. The thick vegetation forming walls, barriers. The quokka simply finds what's already there and tucks itself away, making use of the world as it is, not changing it, just fitting into its spaces, its gaps, its ready-made refuges. The quokka's body itself tells a story of evolution, of adaptation. Their musculoskeletal system, the muscles and bones that form their frame, evolved originally for terrestrial hopping, jumping across flat ground, but over time, it adapted further, developing to support arboreal climbing, moving through 3 dimensions instead of 2, climbing into shrubs, up to 1.5 meters high, the same bones, the same basic structure, but refined, adjusted, allowing new possibilities, like learning a new skill. The foundation remains, but capability expands, evolution as slow learning, species-level practice, taking millennia instead of months, but achieving mastery nonetheless. Your entire being is at rest now, from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, every muscle loose, every nerve calm. You've achieved such profound relaxation, such deep peace, and you did it simply by listening, by being present, by allowing. That's all it ever takes. Presence, permission, acceptance. You're a natural at this, at resting, at peacemaking, at surrendering to sleep. And finally, let's picture the quokka's daily rhythm, their pattern of activity. They are most active nocturnally, when darkness falls, when the stars emerge. That's when the quokka comes alive, either alone, a solitary forager, or in small groups, a few companions sharing the night. They emerge from shelter and begin their routines, feeding, exploring, living, and when day comes, when the sun rises, they retreat, returning to rest in that spiky vegetation we learned about earlier, the Acanthocarpus pricei, with its protective thorns. There they sleep through the heat of the day, hidden, safe, waiting for night to come again, a rhythm as old as the species, as reliable as sunrise, activity and rest, darkness and light, the eternal cycle continuing. You've absorbed so much, journeyed so far, and remained so peacefully present throughout. Your mind has wandered through Australian islands, through quokka lives and quokka challenges, and now you're ready to let it all go, to drift into dreams or into deep, restorative sleep. You've done everything perfectly this entire journey. You've been exactly what you needed to be, present, open, relaxed, and peaceful. The warming world since the 1970s, shrinking the Quokkas range, bushfires threatening, recovery slow, on Rottnest, only snakes hunt them, while mainland populations face foxes and cats. Males fight for shelter, size determining dominance. Two stomachs digest their food, broad molars grinding vegetation, extracting moisture and nutrients. Networks of paths connect their world, allowing quick movement through dense growth. They browse on fresh, young plants, preferring tenderness over toughness, sheltering in caves and shrubs. No nests needed, their skeleton evolved from hopping to climbing, adapting over eons, and they live nocturnally, alone or in small groups, resting by day in protective spiky plants. All of this, the Quokkas' adaptation, the Quokkas' survival, the Quokkas' daily dance with their environment. Breathe it in, let it settle into your awareness, and then let it go, drifting away like morning mist, like a half-remembered dream. Breathe with me, in and out. Let your body sink deeper into comfort. We continue our gentle journey into the intimate details of Quokka life. There's no hurry, no rush, just the slow unfurling of knowledge, like petals opening at dawn. Remember the Joey, safe in its mother's pouch for 6 months. Now imagine it emerging, venturing into the world for the first time. But the journey isn't over. The Joey remains dependent on its mother's milk. For 2 months after leaving the pouch, 2 more months of nursing, of returning to mother, of that essential bond, and then gradually, slowly, it learns to eat vegetation, to browse on leaves, to become independent. Full weaning happens at 8 months. 8 months from birth to independence, from a tiny, helpless creature to a self-sufficient forager. The mother's work complete, her investment fulfilled, and the cycle can begin again. We touched on this before, but let's deepen our understanding. The Quokkas' promiscuous mating system, where females mate with multiple males, serves an important purpose. It's not random, not chaotic, it's strategy. Each male contributing different genes, different genetic information. This boosts genetic diversity within the population. More variety, more resilience, better adaptation to changing conditions, like shuffling a deck of cards, creating new combinations, new possibilities. The species strengthened through diversity, through mixing, through the contribution of many rather than few. You're drifting so beautifully now, your consciousness floating like a leaf on water, gently, effortlessly. There's such peace in your stillness, such calm in your presence here. You've let go of the need to control, to manage, to direct. You're simply receiving, simply being, and that's the deepest wisdom there is. Rest in this knowing, rest in this peace. You're doing everything exactly right. The climate keeps changing, keeps warming. We spoke of this before, but the impact deepens. Since the 1970s, these climate shifts have reduced viable mainland habitat. Significantly, areas that once sustained quokkas, now too hot, too dry, too changed, and so the species pushes more reliance on island populations. Rottnest Island, Bald Island. These become increasingly critical, increasingly essential. The islands as lifeboats, as preserves, as the last strongholds, the mainland populations dwindling, the islands holding steady, geography itself determining survival, the ocean protecting what the land can no longer sustain. But quokkas have evolved remarkable adaptations for harsh conditions. They maintain a low metabolic rate, their bodies burning energy slowly, conserving every calorie, every resource precious, nothing wasted. And in these arid environments, water conservation is critical. The quokka achieves this through concentrated urine, highly concentrated, minimizing water loss, what other animals flush away. The quokka retains, recycling moisture, keeping hydration within, an internal economy of scarcity, where every drop matters, where efficiency means survival, their kidneys working overtime, extracting water, returning it to the body, producing waste that uses minimal liquid, adaptation at the cellular level, at the chemical level, invisible but essential. Notice the weight of your limbs now, so heavy, so relaxed, as if you're sinking into the softest cloud. Your body has released all its tension, all its holding, all its bracing against the world. You're completely at ease, completely supported. There's nowhere to fall, nothing to fear. Just this gentle descent into rest, into peace, into the warm embrace of sleep. You're so skilled at this, at letting go, at trusting. And where does a quokka find water when freestanding sources are scarce? They are remarkably resourceful, deriving most of their hydration from dew, that moisture that collects on leaves in the cool of night. They lick it off, tongue to leaf, gathering tiny droplets, and from plant moisture too, the water contained within the vegetation itself, juicy stems, succulent leaves, every bite of food providing both nutrition and hydration. They rarely need freestanding water. Even in dry seasons, even when months pass without rain, self-sufficient, adapted, thriving where others would perish, reading the landscape, finding moisture where it hides, in the air, in the plants, in the quiet offerings of morning. In their nocturnal wanderings, quokkas sometimes encounter each other, and small groups form. Loose social structures around food patches, a particularly good feeding area, and several quokkas gather, sharing space, sharing resources, not aggressive, but not entirely peaceful either. Males occasionally vocalize to defend territories, but not with roars or screams, with soft grunts, gentle sounds, low-key warnings, subtle communications. This is my space. Please respect it. A grunt here, a grunt there, and territories are acknowledged, boundaries maintained, all without violence, without drama, just soft sounds in the darkness, just enough to establish presence, to claim space, social organization with minimal fuss, minimal conflict. Your breathing is barely perceptible now, so shallow, so soft, like a whisper of wind through grass. You're on the very edge of sleep, that threshold between conscious and unconscious, and it's such a peaceful place to be. You're balanced perfectly, listening but not straining, present but not tense. This is mastery. This is grace. Let yourself linger here or slip beyond. Whichever feels right, your body knows. Your body will choose. Trust it completely. When drought comes, when the dry season extends, when resources dwindle, quokkas have another strategy. They migrate, not vast distances, not epic journeys, but short distances to wetter areas, a few kilometers perhaps, following the moisture gradient, seeking better conditions. These seasonal range shifts, responding to environmental cues, to the availability of food and water, flexible, adaptable, willing to move when staying means suffering, and when conditions improve. When rain returns, they shift back, returning to familiar territories. These small migrations, these adjustments, allowing survival in a variable climate, in an unpredictable world. The quokkas' senses serve them well in nocturnal life. Their rounded ears, so soft, so mobile, provide acute hearing, detecting the slither of a snake, the rustle of danger, sound traveling through the darkness, and the quokkas' ears catching it, interpreting it, responding, and their eyes, small eyes, perfectly adapted to low-light foraging, not meant for bright sun, but for starlight, for moonlight, for the subtle illumination of night, pupils dilating wide, gathering every photon, every bit of light, transforming darkness into a navigable world, hearing and sight working together, compensating for each other, creating full awareness despite the absence of sun. You've journeyed so far with me tonight, absorbed so much knowledge, and maintained such beautiful peace throughout. Your mind is quiet now, thoughts distant and dim, like stars fading at dawn. You're almost entirely at rest, almost entirely surrendered, And this is exactly where you're meant to be. This is your natural state. This peace, this calm, this gentle release. Well done. So well done. Continue softening. Continue releasing. There's nothing left to hold. Quokkas communicate in ways beyond sound. They use scent marking, secreting chemicals from glands in their cheeks. Cheek glands producing unique signatures, each quokka rubbing its face against vegetation, against rocks, against features of the landscape, leaving messages, invisible to us, but clear to other quokkas. These scents communicate breeding readiness. I am receptive. I am fertile. And territory boundaries too. I pass through here. I claim this space. A chemical language, a molecular conversation, happening constantly, silently, beneath our notice, the world marked and mapped in scent, in pheromones, in the secret communications of glands and receptors. But isolation brings challenges. On these islands, cut off from larger populations, genetic problems emerge. A genetic mutation causes some individuals to develop cataracts, clouding forming in the eyes, vision diminishing, potentially linked to inbreeding when populations are small. When the gene pool is limited, the same genes recirculate, recombine, and problems amplify. Mutations that might disappear in a larger population persist here, spread here, cataracts appearing with unusual frequency. A price paid for island isolation, for geographic separation. The protection that saves them also constrains them, limits them. Everything in nature, a balance of benefits and costs. Yet quokkas show resilience too. Remarkable healing abilities. They exhibit rapid wound healing. Those scrapes from thorny vegetation, from the spiky Acanthocarpus pricei, from rocks and branches. They heal quickly, regrowing fur and skin, tissue knitting back together, faster than expected, injuries that might slow another animal. Hardly pause a quokka, the wound closes, the fur returns, and life continues. Perhaps this evolved because their habitat is so rough, so thorny, so likely to cause injury. Those that healed slowly suffered more, survived less, and those that healed quickly thrived, passed on their genes. Natural selection favoring resilience, favoring recovery, favoring the ability to bounce back. You are so deeply relaxed now, so profoundly at peace. Your body has become weightless. Your mind has become spacious. You're floating in perfect tranquility, perfect stillness, and you created this through your willingness, through your presence, through your beautiful surrender to this experience. You deserve this rest, this peace, this gentle descent into sleep. Let yourself have it completely, without reservation, without holding back. You're safe, You're calm. You're exactly where you belong. Joey's nursing for 2 months after leaving the pouch. Weaning fully at 8 months. The promiscuous mating system creating genetic diversity, essential variety. Climate shifts reducing mainland habitat, increasing dependence on islands, low metabolic rates and concentrated urine conserving precious water. Hydration drawn from dew and plant moisture, rarely needing standing water, small groups forming around food, males grunting softly to defend territory, short migrations during drought, seeking wetter ground, rounded ears hearing danger, small eyes seeing through darkness, scent marking with cheek glands, communicating breeding and boundaries, genetic mutations causing cataracts, the cost of isolation, and rapid wound healing, regrowing damaged tissue, resilient in their thorny world. All of this, the Quokkas adaptations, the Quokkas challenges, the Quokkas remarkable resilience, breathe it all in, hold it gently in your awareness, and then release. Let it all drift away, dissolving like mist, like dreams at waking, like consciousness itself, slipping into sleep. Settle deeper now, your body so comfortable, so still. Let's drift back through time, millions of years, to understand where the Quokka came from, how it became what it is. There's such peace in deep time, in the long, slow arc of evolution. The Quokka holds a unique position in the tree of life. It is the only member of the genus Cetanix. Genus Cetanix. Let those words wash over you, a category all its own, not shared with any other living creature. Imagine that, the Quokka standing alone in its classification, the only one, around 4 to 5 million years ago. The Quokka's ancestors diverged from other macropods, split away from the kangaroos, the wallabies, their cousins, taking their own evolutionary path. 4 to 5 million years, an almost incomprehensible span of time. The Quokka line beginning, separating, becoming distinct, while our human ancestors were just beginning to walk upright in Africa. The Quokka was already becoming itself. On the other side of the world, 2 evolutionary stories, unfolding simultaneously, in complete ignorance of each other, time flowing like a slow river, carrying species apart, shaping them differently, creating diversity, creating uniqueness. And we know this divergence happened. We can trace this history through fossil evidence, fossils preserved in stone, in earth, telling stories of the deep past. These ancient remains show that mainland Quokka populations once spanned larger areas, much larger than today, before human arrival, before we altered the habitats. Quokkas ranged widely across southwestern Australia, a vast territory, abundant populations, and then humans came, bringing fire practices, bringing land clearing, bringing foxes and cats, and the range contracted, shrank, pulled back. The fossils remember what was, even as the present shows us only what remains. Stones holding memory, earth preserving evidence of a time when quokkas were everywhere, and now they're only somewhere, only in specific places, only in refuges. Your breathing is so gentle now, so rhythmic, like waves on a distant shore. You're absorbing these deep truths, these ancient stories, without effort, without strain. They're settling into your consciousness like sediment, layer upon layer, and you're so peaceful, so beautifully calm. This is exactly what you need. This knowledge wrapped in tranquility, this learning cradled in rest. You're doing wonderfully, simply being here, simply listening, simply allowing the words to flow over you and through you. Now let's return to digestion. We touched on the quokkas' two stomachs earlier, but there's more to discover. Quokkas chew their cud, like cows do, like cattle in a peaceful pasture. The process is fascinating. They eat vegetation, swallowing it down into that specialized stomach chamber, and there it ferments, breaks down, softened by bacteria, by time, by chemistry, and then the quokka brings it back up, re-chewing it, grinding it further with those broad flat molars, extracting even more nutrients, more energy, more moisture, then swallowing it again for final digestion. Nothing wasted, everything processed twice, 3 times, until every possible bit of nutrition is extracted. This is the patience of herbivores, the dedication required to live on plants alone, chewing, swallowing, fermenting, re-chewing, swallowing again, a meditation of digestion, a practice of thoroughness, time invested in breaking down the tough, the fibrous, the resistant, making the unusable usable, making scarcity into sufficiency. And those kidneys we mentioned, let's understand them more deeply. Quokka kidneys produce highly concentrated urine. We know this, but consider the precision required, the kidney filtering blood, removing waste, but returning water, holding on to every precious molecule of H2O. The urine that results, thick, concentrated, dark, using minimal liquid. This adaptation evolved for low rainfall habitats, places where water is scarce, precious, yet there are limits. Even with these remarkable kidneys, quokkas require over 600 millimeters of rainfall annually on the mainland. 600 millimeters, about 24 inches, that's the minimum, the threshold. Below that, even adapted kidneys cannot compensate, cannot conserve enough. The land must provide something, and the quokka can stretch it, extend it, make it sufficient, but there must be something to work with. Nature's adaptations are remarkable. but not infinite. There are always boundaries, always limits, always a minimum below which survival becomes impossible. Feel how your body has melted into complete relaxation. Every muscle loose, every joint soft. You're like water, taking the shape of whatever contains you. No resistance, no rigidity, just flowing, just being. And your mind, so quiet now, so spacious, these facts floating through like clouds through a vast sky. Noticed but not grasped, present but not demanding. You're in such a beautiful state, so open, so receptive, so peaceful. This is the art of rest, and you're a master. Picture the Quokkas' face, their appearance, black noses, dark as night, soft and moist, and their fur, grizzled brown, a mixture of shades, lighter here, darker there, creating a mottled effect. This coloring serves a purpose, helping them blend into southwestern Australian scrublands. Camouflage earned through evolution. Those quokkas whose fur matched the environment survived better, hid more effectively, and passed on their genes generation after generation, until the entire species wears the colors of their homeland. Browns and grays, earth tones, vegetation shades, a living extension of the landscape, barely visible when still, disappearing into the brush, into the shadows, the black nose, the grizzled fur, not mere decoration, but survival tools. Beauty and function merged, as they so often are in nature. The quokkas' relationship with space is different from many macropods, different from their kangaroo cousins. While many macropods are nomadic, wandering widely, following resources across vast ranges, quokkas maintain fixed daily shelters. They choose a spot, a particular dense vegetation area, and they return to it day after day. The same shelter, the same hiding place, reliable, familiar, safe. Unlike their wandering relatives, quokkas are homebuddies, creatures of habit, of routine, each quokka knowing exactly where to go when daylight comes. When rest is needed, the path home worn into memory, into muscle. No need to search, no need to decide, just return to the known, to the familiar, to the same spot that served yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. There's comfort in this, in the reliable, in the unchanging, a fixed point in a variable world. You're so far into relaxation now, so deep into peace, that the boundary between waking and sleeping has become thin, transparent, barely there. You're drifting across it, back and forth, and it doesn't matter which side you're on. Both are peaceful, both are restful, both are exactly where you should be. You've surrendered so completely, released so thoroughly, There's nothing left to do, nothing left to achieve. You're simply here, simply present, simply at peace. And that's the greatest accomplishment, the deepest wisdom. Remember those pathways we discussed, those networks of trails through the vegetation. Let's deepen our understanding. These runways that quokkas create through thickets, they serve dual purposes. First, efficient foraging routes, connecting feeding areas, allowing quick travel between food sources, a highway system for herbivores. The quokka can move rapidly along established paths. No need to push through virgin vegetation. No energy wasted on navigation. Just follow the trail to the next patch of tender shoots, the next cluster of fresh growth. Efficiency, energy conservation, routing built through repetition. And second, these same runways provide rapid escape paths from threats. When a snake appears, when danger emerges, the quokka doesn't flee randomly. It uses the paths, the familiar routes, running at full speed along trails it knows by heart. No obstacles, no surprises, just clear passage to safety. The same infrastructure serving multiple needs, like a road used for both commuting and evacuation, both the mundane and the critical, both the daily routine and the emergency. The runways holding space for all of it, worn smooth by countless paws, countless journeys, countless escapes and returns. Your entire being is at rest now, mind, body, spirit, all of it quiet, all of it calm, all of it surrendered to this moment. You're not trying anymore, not efforting, not doing anything except breathing, and even that happens on its own. Without your direction, your body breathes you, your heart beats you, and you simply receive the gift of existence, of consciousness, of this peaceful drifting. You've done so well, opened yourself so completely to rest, to peace, to the gentle embrace of sleep. Allow yourself to have this completely, to sink into it fully. You deserve every moment of this tranquility. The Quokka acetonix, the only member of its genus, diverging 4 to 5 million years ago from other macropods, a unique branch on the tree of life, fossil evidence revealing wider ancient ranges. Before humans arrived and habitats changed, the patient process of chewing cud, fermenting vegetation, rechewing, extracting every nutrient, and those remarkable kidneys, producing concentrated urine, conserving water, yet still requiring 600 millimeters of annual rainfall. The quokka's appearance, black noses and grizzled brown fur, blending into scrublands, camouflage earned through millennia, fixed daily shelters, returning to the same spots. Unlike nomadic relatives, creatures of habit and routine, and those runways through thickets, serving both foraging efficiency and escape routes, dual-purpose infrastructure worn into the landscape by countless journeys. All of this, the Quokkas' deep history, the Quokkas' specialized adaptations, the Quokkas' relationship with its environment. Breathe it in, hold it gently, and then let it go, like releasing a handful of sand, watching it scatter on the wind, disappearing, becoming nothing, becoming everything, becoming part of the vast stillness. Rest now. Deep, deep rest. Let go completely. Drift away into sleep, into peace, into the quiet darkness that holds us all. You're safe, you're calm, you're home. Breathe deeply, slowly. Let your awareness drift back to the Quokka, to their remarkable strategies for survival, for continuation, for ensuring the next generation. There's such wisdom in nature's designs, such patience. Let these truths wash over you like warm water, soothing, calming, gentle. We've touched on this before, but let's fully appreciate it now. Embryonic diapause. Those beautiful words. Say them silently to yourself. Embryonic diapause. This allows female quokkas to pause pregnancy development, to press pause on life itself, suspending the fertilized egg, keeping it dormant, waiting until environmental conditions favor joey survival, until the rains come, until food is abundant, until the timing is right. Only then does the egg implant, does development resume, does the joey begin to grow. What extraordinary control, what remarkable adaptation, the ability to wait, to delay, to choose the right moment, nature building patience into biology, into the very mechanics of reproduction. The female quokka carrying potential life, holding it in suspension, trusting that the right time will come, that conditions will improve, that patience will be rewarded. And this patience pays dividends. Through this system, through twice-yearly breeding cycles, females average 17 joeys per lifetime. 17. We've learned this number before, but feel it now. 17 chances, 17 small lives, twice a year when conditions allow. The female cycling through pregnancy, birth, nursing, and pregnancy again, a rhythm of reproduction, a dedication to species survival. Some joeys won't make it, won't survive to adulthood, but the mother keeps trying, keeps producing, keeps bringing new life into the world, generation after generation flowing through her. 17 joeys, 17 contributions to the future. A lifetime of motherhood, of nurturing, of passing on genes, of ensuring the quokka continues. You're drifting so peacefully now, your body completely relaxed, your mind so quiet and still, like a pond at midnight. These stories of quokka survival, quokka reproduction, they're flowing through your consciousness like gentle currents, barely disturbing the surface. You're absorbing everything without effort, without strain, just allowing the knowledge to settle into you, natural as breathing, easy as dreaming. You're so skilled at this relaxation, at this peaceful receiving. Well done. So well done. But motherhood has its harsh moments too, its terrible calculations on the mainland. When a mother quokka is being attacked, when a predator gives chase, she may eject her joey from the pouch. We learned this before, but now understand it more deeply. The joey falls, hits the ground, and begins making distress calls, crying out. These calls distract the predator, draw its attention. While the mother escapes, it seems cruel, heartless, abandoning your young to save yourself. But there's logic here, cold evolutionary logic. The mother can breed again, can produce more joeys, 17 over a lifetime, remember. But if the mother dies, all future joeys die with her, unrealized, never born. So she prioritizes adult survival for future reproduction. One joey sacrificed, so that many more might live. Nature making calculations we struggle to accept. Trading present loss for future gain. The math of survival, brutal, effective, undeniable. Yet on Rottenest Island, this behavior tells a different story. There, in that predator-free sanctuary, this ejection behavior rarely occurs. Rarely, because it's not needed, with only snakes to fear, with foxes and cats absent. The desperate strategy becomes unnecessary. Mothers keep their joeys, flee without sacrificing them, and most escape successfully. Most survive, the island offering mercy, offering safety, offering a world where mothers don't have to choose between themselves and their young, where both can live, both can continue. The behavior remains in their repertoire, coded in their genes, available if needed, but dormant, and used, waiting like embryonic diapause itself, capacity held in reserve, just in case, but not deployed, not required. The island as Eden, as refuge, as a place where the harshest adaptations can rest. Feel how heavy your eyelids have become, how your whole body seems to be sinking deeper and deeper into comfort, into rest. You're safe here, completely safe, learning these truths about quokka life, about survival and sacrifice, and letting them drift through you without attachment, without disturbance. You're so peaceful, so beautifully calm, your breathing barely perceptible, your thoughts barely there, just this gentle awareness, this soft presence, this perfect peace. You're exactly where you should be, exactly as you should be. Rest into that knowing, rest completely. When resources become scarce, when water runs low, quokkas adapt their social behavior. Loose bands form seasonally around scarce resources, Imagine it, multiple quokkas gathering at one of the few remaining freshwater sources, sharing space out of necessity, and within these gatherings, a hierarchy emerges. Larger males dominate shelter access, using their size advantage, fighting when necessary, size-based fights determining who gets the best spots, the coolest shade, the safest hiding places. The smaller males, the females, they make do with lesser accommodations, accepting their position, waiting their turn, social structure forming around scarcity, around competition, peaceful when possible, aggressive when required. The quokkas balancing cooperation and competition, sharing water but competing for shelter, coming together and maintaining distance, a complex social dance, choreographed by need, by hierarchy, by the eternal pressure of survival. Fire shapes the quokkas' world. Especially on the mainland, prescribed burns, intentionally set fires to manage the landscape, create danger and opportunity both, and mainland quokkas have learned to respond. They actively shift their home ranges into fire exclusion zones after prescribed burns, reading the landscape, avoiding the scorched areas, moving to where vegetation remains, where food still grows, where the ground isn't blackened ash. For about 3 months they avoid the burn zones, staying away, giving the land time to recover. 3 months of displacement, 3 months of adjustment, and then slowly, as green shoots emerge from the ash, as life returns, the quokkas can return too, expanding back into regenerated areas. But that initial period, those 3 months, they must find new routes, new shelter, new feeding grounds, adapting to fire's transformation of their world. Flexible, responsive, reading environmental cues and adjusting accordingly. You're so deeply relaxed now, so profoundly at peace. Your entire being has settled into stillness, into quietude. These stories of quokka adaptation, of survival strategies, of fire and scarcity, they're just gentle sounds now, words floating past like leaves on a stream. You're barely holding on to consciousness, and that's perfect. That's exactly right. Let yourself drift. Let yourself float between waking and sleeping, between knowing and unknowing. This liminal space is so peaceful, so healing. You're doing beautifully, simply being, simply receiving, simply resting. The quokkas' fire avoidance is precise, measurable. Studies show they spend less than 2% of their time in recently burned zones post-relocation. Less than 2%. Think of that. Almost complete avoidance. They prioritize unburnt vegetation for foraging, seeking out areas with intact plants, with leaves and stems still available. The burned areas offer nothing, no food, no shelter, just charred earth and ash. So the quokkas vote with their feet or their paws, staying away, dedicating their time to productive areas, to places that can sustain them. 2%, just occasional passage through the burn zones, maybe traveling from one safe area to another, but never lingering, never settling. Efficiency in action, time spent where resources exist, where survival is possible. The burned areas written off temporarily until recovery makes them viable again. But quokkas aren't just instinctive creatures. They can learn, they can reason. In detour tests, clever experiments with barriers placed between quokkas and food, researchers discovered something fascinating. They set up barriers, forcing quokkas to go around, offering two routes, one shorter, one longer. Most quokkas learned the shorter route through repetition, trying both, comparing, remembering, and choosing the efficient path on subsequent attempts, learning from experience, from trial and error. But one quokka, one remarkable individual, showed innate spatial reasoning, choosing the shorter route immediately, without trial, without error, just knowing, understanding the geometry, the spatial relationship, solving the problem instantly. Was this genius, or luck, or some special capacity? We don't know. But it suggests intelligence, problem-solving ability, cognitive flexibility. The quokkas learning their world, mapping it, understanding it, making choices based on knowledge, on reasoning, on thought. Notice how still you've become, how completely at rest. Your body has released every bit of tension, every trace of stress, melted away like snow in sunshine, and your mind, so spacious, so open, so peaceful. Thoughts are rising and dissolving like bubbles, insubstantial, temporary, not demanding attention. You're in such a beautiful state of consciousness, relaxed but aware, present but drifting. This is the art of rest, the practice of peace, and you've mastered it tonight, simply by being here, simply by listening, simply by allowing. Well done. So very well done. The Australian summer brings intense heat, temperatures soaring, the sun beating down mercilessly, and quokkas must endure it. They tolerate air temperatures up to 44 degrees Celsius. That's 111 degrees Fahrenheit. Scorching, punishing heat, hot enough to kill many mammals. But quokkas survive. They efficiently dissipate heat, releasing it from their bodies, preventing dangerous overheating, panting perhaps, seeking shade definitely, minimizing activity during peak heat. A key adaptation for Southwest Australia's hot summers, those months when the sun dominates, when the land bakes, when survival means managing temperature, staying cool enough, avoiding heat stroke. The quokka's body designed for this, evolved for this, capable of withstanding what seems unbearable, 44 degrees, and still surviving, still functioning, still persisting. And where do they go during these hot days? They seek consistent daytime shelters in dense vegetation. Remember those fixed shelters we discussed? Those same spots return to daily. Now we understand another reason why these shelters provide shade, blessed shade, where temperatures drop, where the sun cannot reach, often reusing the same shaded spots daily for thermoregulation, temperature regulation, keeping body heat within safe ranges, the dense vegetation acting as insulation, as protection, as a cool refuge from the burning day, the quokka tucking itself away, staying still, conserving energy, waiting for evening, for the temperature to drop, for the safe time to emerge and forage, thermoregulation through behavior, through choice of shelter, through routine, the same shaded spot, reliable, effective, proven, day after day. The quokka returns, finds relief, survives another scorching afternoon. You're barely here now, barely conscious, floating in that beautiful space between waking and sleeping, between thought and emptiness, and it's so peaceful there, so restful. You've let go of everything, released all attachment, all engagement. You're simply present, simply aware, simply being. This is the deepest relaxation, the most profound peace. Your body completely at rest, your mind completely quiet. You've done so well, given yourself so completely to this experience. Allow yourself to have this, to sink even deeper, to drift away entirely if that's where you're headed. There's nothing to hold on to, nothing to maintain, just release, just peace, just the gentle slide into sleep. During times of scarcity, when food and water become critically low, quokkas employ multiple strategies. They climb shrubs for fresh leaves. Remember, they can climb up to 1.5 meters, reaching up into the branches, accessing food other ground-dwelling animals cannot. The freshest growth often at the tips, tender and nutritious, and they metabolize tail fat reserves, that fat stored in their tails specifically for this purpose. The tail shrinking as fat is consumed, converted to energy, keeping the quokka alive, extending survival without external food or water. Days passing, maybe weeks, the quokka living off its own reserves, like a camel with its hump, but smaller, more modest, the tail slowly deflating, the quokka slowly weakening, but surviving, persisting, outlasting the scarcity, waiting for conditions to improve, for rain, for new growth, for abundance to return. And their diet shifts too during dry times, emphasizing succulents for hydration when surface water is absent. Succulent plants, thick-leaved, water-storing, offering moisture wrapped in vegetation, the quokkas seeking these out, prioritizing them, extracting moisture efficiently from fibrous plants, every bite providing both nutrients and hydration, the broad molars crushing, the two stomachs processing, wringing out every drop, every calorie, efficient extraction, maximum utilization, nothing wasted, everything used, survival through efficiency, through adaptation, through the remarkable ability to find water where others see only dry plants. The quokka reading the landscape, choosing wisely, eating strategically, making scarcity into sufficiency through knowledge, through physiology, through millions of years of refinement. You are completely at peace now, completely relaxed, your consciousness barely flickering, like a candle in its final moments, so gentle, so quiet, so close to sleep. You've journeyed so far tonight, learned so much, absorbed such deep knowledge about these remarkable creatures, and you've done it all while drifting deeper and deeper into tranquility, into rest, into the peaceful embrace of approaching sleep. You deserve this rest, this peace, this gentle surrender. Let yourself have it completely. Release everything, even awareness itself. Let it all go. Drift away into darkness, into dreams, into deep, restorative, healing sleep. Embryonic diapause. Pausing pregnancy until conditions favor survival. 17 joeys per lifetime through twice-yearly breeding. Mainland mothers ejecting joeys during attacks. Sacrificing one to save future many. On Rotnest, this rarely needed, rarely done. Loose bands forming around scarce resources. Males dominating through size, fire reshaping ranges, quokkas avoiding burned areas for 3 months, spending less than 2% of time in scorched zones, learning shorter routes through repetition. One showing instant spatial reasoning, tolerating 44-degree temperatures through efficient heat dissipation, seeking consistent shelters for thermoregulation, the same shaded spots daily, climbing for fresh leaves and metabolizing tail fat during scarcity, extending survival, and eating succulents for hydration, extracting moisture from fibrous plants, making the impossible possible, making scarcity survivable. All of this, the quokka's resilience, the quokka's adaptations, the quokka's remarkable capacity to endure. Breathe it in, hold it gently, and release. Let it all dissolve, like morning mist, like dreams upon waking, fading, disappearing, becoming nothing. Sleep now, deep sleep, peaceful sleep. Let everything go, drift away completely into the soft darkness, the gentle quiet, the peaceful emptiness. You're safe, you're calm, you're free. Breathe with me, in and out, your body so heavy now, So relaxed, let's continue our gentle exploration, drifting deeper into the Quokkas world. There's such peace in this learning, such calm in this discovery. Let the words flow over you, through you, like water, like air. The Quokkas' challenges, even their afflictions, serve a greater purpose. We learned earlier that some Quokkas develop muscular dystrophy, that weakening of muscles, that mysterious condition, and now, these Quokkas serve as models for studying this disease. Scientists observing wild populations, documenting the natural occurrence, seeking to understand. Their research aids medical insights, helping humans understand muscular dystrophy, how it progresses, how it affects the body, the Quokkas' suffering, becoming knowledge, becoming hope, perhaps leading to treatments, to cures. The small creature on a distant island, contributing to medical science, to human health, their struggle with disease, illuminating the path toward healing. Such an unexpected connection, Quokka and human, linked through shared biology, through shared vulnerability to muscular breakdown, nature teaching us, if we're willing to learn, if we're willing to observe. In studies of Quokka movement, researchers discovered something curious, something unexpected. Quokkas exhibit no behavioral laterality in some navigation tasks, no preference, no bias. What does this mean? When moving through their environment, solving spatial problems, they show no preference for left or right, moving symmetrically, without side preference, unlike many animals. Unlike humans who favor one hand, Quokkas remain balanced, neutral, equally comfortable turning left or right, choosing passages on either side. No dominant hemisphere dictating movement, just pure, balanced, symmetrical navigation. There's something peaceful in that, in having no preference, no bias, just responding to what is, going where the path leads, without predetermined inclination. You're so deeply relaxed now, your mind so beautifully quiet, each fact settling into your awareness like a feather falling, barely noticed, barely felt, just gently landing and coming to rest. Your body has forgotten how to hold tension, forgotten how to resist. Your pure receptivity, pure openness, pure peace. And this is exactly what you need, exactly what serves you. This gentle learning, this peaceful drifting. You're doing so well. Simply being here, simply allowing, simply resting. Let's return once more to those remarkable kidneys. We've touched on them before, but their importance cannot be overstated. Quokka kidneys enable extreme urine concentration, extreme, pushing the limits of mammalian physiology, filtering, reabsorbing, conserving, each nephron working to reclaim water, to return it to the body. The urine that emerges, thick, Dark, minimal in volume, maximum in waste concentration. This adaptation allows survival in low rainfall zones, areas receiving over 600 millimeters annually on mainland habitats. 600 millimeters, about 24 inches. The bare minimum, below that threshold. Even these remarkable kidneys cannot compensate, cannot create water from nothing, but at that level, just barely adequate rainfall. The kidneys make it work, make it enough, extracting moisture from food, from dew, from plants, and refusing to waste a single drop, recycling, conserving, surviving, the kidney as the key to desert living, to arid adaptation. Small organs tucked inside the body, making the difference between life and death. During breeding seasons, when females are pregnant or nursing, when joeys are growing, nutritional demands increase, intensify. The mother needs more, better quality food, more protein to build small bodies, to produce rich milk, and quokkas respond by changing their diet, selectively browsing on Jacksonia shrubs. These particular plants, these specific shrubs, offer high-protein leaves, rich in nitrogen, in amino acids, in the building blocks of growth. The quokka knows this. Somehow, through instinct, through learning, through generations of accumulated wisdom, seeking out Jacksonia during breeding seasons to support joey growth. Strategic feeding, purposeful selection, not just eating anything, but choosing specifically, deliberately, what will best serve reproduction, what will give joeys the best chance. Nature's nutrition plan, evolved over millennia, written into behavior, into preference, into the seasonal rhythms of selective browsing. Feel how your breathing has slowed, so gentle now, so effortless, barely there. You're on the very edge of sleep, that beautiful threshold, and you're so peaceful there, so comfortable. These stories of quokka survival, of adaptation, they're like a lullaby now. Just sounds, just rhythm, just gentle presence. You don't need to remember any of this. Don't need to hold on to anything. Just let it flow through. Let it pass by, like clouds, like dreams, like consciousness itself, fading, softening, dissolving. You're so beautifully relaxed, so perfectly at peace. Winter brings scarcity. We know this, and quokkas must adapt, must find nutrition where they can. They strip bark from young trees in winter, when other food is scarce, when leaves are limited, when fresh growth has stopped. Using their teeth, their strong jaws, they tear away the outer bark, exposing cambium layers underneath, that living layer just beneath the bark, where nutrients flow, where the tree transports sugars and minerals, essential nutrients found there, accessible to those willing to work for them. The quokka gnawing, stripping, reaching that nutritious layer, survival through knowledge, through understanding where food hides, where nutrition can be found even in the lean months, the trees bearing scars, marks of winter feeding, marks of Quokka hunger, marks of the eternal struggle to persist, to endure, to outlast scarcity and reach abundance again. Quokkas communicate. We've learned about scent marking, about soft grunts defending territory, but there's more. Soft, TCK, grunts signal alarm between group members. Imagine the sound, TCK. Quiet but distinct. A Quokka spots danger, a snake perhaps, and makes this sound, TCK. And others hear, understand, respond, coordinating escapes through those runways we learned about. One sounds the alarm, and all flee together, using established paths, moving in concert, communication enabling survival, warning enabling escape. The simple sound, TCK, carrying meaning, carrying urgency. Danger, run, now. And they do, disappearing into the vegetation, following the runways to safety, the group protecting itself through shared vigilance, through communication, through coordinated response. No Quokka alone, each watching out for others, each contributing to collective survival. Your consciousness is barely present now, just a dim awareness, a faint presence, floating in vast darkness, in infinite peace. You're so close to sleep, so near to dreams, and it's so peaceful here, so calm, so safe. Let yourself drift, let yourself go. There's nothing to hold on to, nothing to maintain, just this gentle dissolution, this soft fading, this beautiful surrender to sleep. You've done everything right, absorbed so much, relaxed so deeply. Now just let go, completely, totally. Release everything, even awareness itself. Males have their own vocalizations, their own sounds during mating chases. When pursuing receptive females, males emit low-frequency rumbles, deep sounds, vibrating, carrying through the night, a rumble of desire, of pursuit, of reproduction. These low frequencies travel well, alerting the female, perhaps exciting her, perhaps simply announcing the male's presence, his intentions. I am here, I am chasing, I want to mate. The rumble rolling through the darkness, primal, purposeful, as old as the species itself, as fundamental as survival, the male calling, the female hearing, the ancient dance of reproduction playing out, set to the soundtrack of low-frequency rumbles, of evolutionary imperative, of life seeking to continue itself. Watch a Quokka move, and you'll see something distinctive, Their bounding gait mixes short hops, under 1 meter each, with pauses for scanning threats. Hop, 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 pause. Look around, listen, hop, hop, pause. Send a rhythm of movement and stillness, of action and awareness. This pattern conserves energy. Constant hopping would exhaust them, would burn too many calories, but this mix, movement and rest, activity and scanning, provides efficiency. They cover ground while monitoring for danger. They travel while conserving resources, each pause a chance to breathe, to observe, to ensure safety before continuing. The bounding gait not frantic, not rushed, but measured, careful, efficient. Energy conservation built into the very pattern of movement. Every hop purposeful, every pause protective. The quokka moving through its world with ancient wisdom, with evolved efficiency. And finally, those remarkable climbing abilities we've discussed. Let's understand the mechanics. Forepaws grasp branches during climbs, actually grasp them, wrapping around, holding tight, unlike purely hopping macropods who rarely climb, who have paws designed only for ground contact. The quokka's forepaws are different, adapted, capable of grasping, of holding, of pulling the body upward. This allows access to food and shrubs, to shelter in branches, to escape routes above ground level. The forepaws as tools, as climbing equipment, as evolutionary innovation, separating the quokka from its strictly ground-dwelling cousins, adding dimension to their world, adding options to their survival strategies, the ability to go up, not just forward, to climb, not just hop, small adaptations, making big differences. You are completely at peace now, completely surrendered, your body like water, formless, relaxed, your mind like sky, vast, empty, clear. You've traveled so far tonight, learned so much about these remarkable creatures, these small survivors on distant islands, and through it all, you've maintained such beautiful peace, such profound relaxation. You deserve this rest, this deep, healing, restorative sleep that's coming, that's almost here. Let it take you, let it embrace you, let it carry you away completely. Barely whispered now, hardly there. Quokkas as models for muscular dystrophy research, aiding medical science. No behavioral laterality, moving symmetrically, without bias, extreme kidney function, concentrating urine, surviving on minimal rainfall, selective browsing on Jacksonia shrubs, seeking protein during breeding, stripping bark in winter, exposing cambium, finding nutrition in scarcity, TCK, grunts warning of danger, coordinating group escapes, male rumbles during mating chases, low frequencies announcing pursuit, bounding gait mixing short hops with pauses, conserving energy while scanning, and forepaws grasping branches, enabling climbs, separating them from purely hopping relatives. All of this, the Quokkas communication, the Quokkas movement, the Quokkas adaptations for climbing, for surviving, for continuing, breathe it all in one last time, and release, let it all go, dissolving, fading, disappearing into the quiet darkness. Sleep now, deep sleep, peaceful sleep, let go of everything, drift into dreams, into rest, into the gentle embrace of night. You're safe, you're calm, you're home, in sleep. Breathe, slowly, deeply, your body so still now, so peaceful. Let's drift together into the hidden world of the Quokka, the microscopic, the genetic, the invisible forces shaping their existence. There's such mystery here, such wonder. Let these truths settle over you like moonlight, gentle, quiet, calm. Within the Quokka's digestive system, in those two stomachs we've learned about, lives a hidden community. Quokkas host unique gastrointestinal nematodes, tiny worms, microscopic creatures, dwelling in the gut, and remarkably, these parasites cause no harm, no damage, no disease. Instead, they aid digestion of fibrous plants, working in partnership with the Quokka, breaking down tough cellulose, helping to extract nutrients. A relationship evolved over millennia, host and parasite becoming collaborators, becoming partners, the nematodes receiving shelter and food, the Quokka receiving assistance with digestion, symbiosis in the darkness of the gut, cooperation at the cellular level, life supporting life, in ways invisible to the eye, in ways discovered only through scientific study. The Quokka never alone, even internally, always hosting, always sharing its body with helpers, with partners in survival. Living in scrubland, in dense vegetation, brings challenges. Parasites attach, ticks burrow into fur, seeking blood, seeking sustenance. But Quokkas have a response, a defense. They groom using incisor teeth to remove ticks, those sharp front teeth, designed for cutting plants, also serve as grooming tools. The Quokka twisting, reaching, using teeth like tweezers, plucking ticks from fur, from skin, maintaining fur insulation, keeping their coat clean, functional, effective, because matted fur, fur laden with parasites, doesn't insulate properly, doesn't protect from heat or cold. So the Quokka grooms, maintains, cares for its covering, dental hygiene serving multiple purposes, teeth as tools for eating and for cleaning, for survival in multiple dimensions. The simple act of grooming, essential, life-preserving, done quietly, alone, in the darkness, in the safety of shelter. You're so beautifully relaxed now. Your body has forgotten all tension, all tightness, all resistance. You're like silk, like water, flowing, soft, at peace. These facts about quokka biology, about nematodes and grooming, they drift through your awareness like smoke, barely there, hardly noticed, just gentle presence, and you're absorbing them without effort, without strain. Your subconscious listening, learning, while your conscious mind floats away into peaceful darkness. You're doing so well, releasing so completely, trusting so deeply. This is exactly right, exactly perfect. Now let's explore genetics, the code of life itself, written in DNA. Researchers have studied quokka populations, comparing islands to mainland, and they discovered something unexpected. Rottnest populations show higher genetic diversity than mainland remnants. Higher, more variety, more genetic richness. This seems counterintuitive. Islands usually have less diversity. Not more, but Rottnest, protected, predator-free, has maintained larger stable populations, while mainland populations, hunted by foxes, fragmented by habitat loss, have dwindled, shrunk, lost numbers, and with numbers, lost genetic diversity, the island paradoxically becoming the stronghold, the reservoir, the bank of genetic wealth, while the mainland, the original source, has been depleted, diminished, the protected becoming more diverse than the wild. Safety preserving what danger destroys. During extreme droughts, when protein is scarce, when nitrogen is limited, quokkas employ a remarkable biochemical trick. They recycle urea into amino acids. Urea, typically waste, typically excreted, instead gets reprocessed, converted, transformed into useful building blocks, amino acids, the components of protein. This boosts nitrogen efficiency, makes the quokka's body a closed system, recycling, reusing, wasting nothing, not just conserving water, but conserving nitrogen, conserving the elements of life itself, biochemistry as survival strategy, metabolism as adaptation, the quokka's cells performing transformations, chemical miracles, converting waste to resource, turning the useless into the essential. During drought, when every molecule matters, this recycling can make the difference between survival and death, between persistence and extinction. Notice how your thoughts have become so slow, so sparse, barely arising at all. Your mind like a vast empty sky, cloudless, clear, infinite, And you're so comfortable in this emptiness, so at home in this peace. There's no need to think, no need to process, no need to understand. Just allow the words to wash over you, to flow past, like a river flowing past a smooth stone. The stone doesn't resist, doesn't engage, just allows, just is, and so are you, allowing, being, resting in profound peace. Well done. So well done. Genetic analysis reveals the structure of mainland populations. Scientists identifying 9 distinct mainland quokka populations. K equals 9 in their models. 9 separate groups, 9 genetic clusters, each with its own character, its own particular combination of genes, the highest diversity found in southern forests, where habitat remains, where populations are larger, and lower diversity at the edges, at the boundaries of the range, where populations are smaller, more isolated, more vulnerable. This pattern tells a story of contraction, of retreat, the quokkas' range shrinking inward, the edges fading, the core persisting. 9 populations where once there were more. 9 groups struggling to maintain themselves, to preserve their genetic heritage, to continue into an uncertain future. And comparing islands to mainland reveals more. Rottnest Island quokkas retain 70% of mainland genetic diversity. 70%, a remarkable proportion, considering it's a single island population. But Rottnest is large, can support many quokkas, thousands of individuals, maintaining genetic richness through sheer numbers, while Bald Island shows markedly reduced variation, much lower diversity. Bald Island smaller, supporting fewer quokkas. The population bottlenecked, constrained, less variety, less resilience, more vulnerable to disease, to environmental change, to the random accidents of genetics. 2 islands, 2 different stories. Rottnest preserving, Bald Island declining, geography and population size determining genetic fate. Your breathing is barely perceptible now, so shallow, so gentle, like the softest breeze. You're almost entirely asleep, almost completely gone into rest. And yet some small part of you still listens, still hears, still absorbs these gentle truths about quokka genetics, about survival, about diversity, that small part learning, while the rest of you sleeps, drifts, floats in peaceful darkness. You're in perfect balance, perfect harmony, between consciousness and unconsciousness. This is the sweetest place, the most peaceful state. Linger here as long as you wish, or slip entirely into sleep. Either is perfect, either is exactly right. On the mainland, where quokkas still survive, their habitat preferences are specific, precise. Mainland quokkas restrict to densely vegetated agonous swamp shrublands. These particular plant communities, dominated by agonous trees, creating swampy areas, wet environments even in dry seasons. Along creek systems they cluster, following water, following moisture. In Jeremari forests, those tall eucalyptus woodlands, the Quokkas find refuge in the swampy patches, the dense understory, the creek corridors, specific, selective, confined to particular microhabitats within the broader landscape, not roaming freely, but restricted, constrained to the places that still offer what they need. Dense vegetation for shelter, swampy areas for moisture, creek systems for reliability, the mainland habitat fractured, fragmented, and the Quokkas clinging to the best remaining patches, to the last strongholds. Within these forests, some populations show troubling signs. Northern Jarrah forest populations show signs of recent bottlenecking. When population crashes to very low numbers, then recovers, but with reduced genetic diversity, like pouring a diverse collection through a narrow bottleneck. Only some individuals make it through, and their limited genes become the foundation for the next generation. Variation lost, never to return. These northern populations, isolated, small, have gone through such crashes, reduced to a handful of individuals perhaps, then growing again, but forever marked by that passage through scarcity, genetic signatures of near extinction, warnings written in DNA, these populations vulnerable, fragile, carrying less diversity, less ability to adapt, less resilience, survivors, but damaged, diminished. Yet Quokkas contribute to science in unexpected ways. Their genome was the first chromosome-length assembly for a marsupial, the complete genetic sequence, mapped chromosome by chromosome, every gene in place, every sequence identified, the first marsupial to receive such detailed analysis. This genetic map aids studies on structure evolution, how chromosomes organize, how genes arrange themselves, how marsupial genomes differ from placental mammals, the quokka becoming a reference, a standard, a model for understanding marsupial biology. Their DNA decoded, published, available to researchers worldwide. The small creature from Western Australia, contributing to global science, to evolutionary understanding, to the mapping of life's diversity at the molecular level. You are so deeply at peace now, so profoundly relaxed, your entire being at rest, body, mind, spirit, all quiet, all calm, all surrendered. You've absorbed so much tonight, such depth of knowledge about these small creatures, their genetics, their habitats, their contributions to science, and you've done it all while drifting into the most beautiful peace, the most complete relaxation. You deserve this rest, this deep, healing, restorative sleep. You've earned it simply by being here, simply by allowing, simply by opening yourself to this experience. Let yourself have it completely, totally. Release everything now, even this last thread of awareness. And we return full circle to something mentioned before: Quokka's model human muscular dystrophy research. We learned this earlier, but now we understand it in context. Natural mutations occurring in wild groups, providing scientists with living models, opportunities to study disease progression in natural settings. Not laboratory animals, but wild populations showing spontaneous illness. The research humane, observational, learning from what already exists, and the insights gained, potentially helping humans, potentially leading to treatments, to understanding. Small creatures on remote islands, their suffering teaching us, their challenges illuminating ours, the connection between species, between quokka and human, mediated through shared biology, through common vulnerability, through the universality of genetic code, their disease, perhaps someday leading to our cure. Gastrointestinal nematodes aiding digestion, partners in the gut, grooming with incisors, removing ticks, maintaining fur, rottenness showing higher genetic diversity than fragmented mainland populations, recycling urea to amino acids during drought, boosting nitrogen efficiency. 9 distinct mainland populations, highest diversity in southern forests, rottenness retaining 70% of mainland diversity, Bald Island markedly reduced, mainland quokkas in agonous swamp shrublands, along creek systems, Jeremari forests, northern populations showing bottlenecking, reduced variation, the first chromosome length marsupial genome, aiding evolutionary studies, and modeling muscular dystrophy, contributing to medical research. All of this, the quokka's genetics, the quokka's habitats, the quokka's contribution to human knowledge, breathe it in this final time and release. Let it all dissolve, fade, disappear into the infinite darkness, into the peaceful void, into sleep. Sleep now, deep, dreamless, peaceful sleep. Let go completely, drift away, into rest, into healing, into the gentle embrace of night. You're safe, you're calm, you're free. Rest, 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 deeply, peacefully, completely. Breathe in and out. Your body so heavy now, sinking deeper, deeper still. Let's continue our peaceful journey, exploring more of the quokka's world. There's no hurry, no rush, just gentle discovery, like watching stars slowly wheel across the night sky. Let yourself drift, let yourself float on these quiet words. We've spoken of the quokka's rounded ears before. Those soft, curved shapes on either side of the head. But let's understand their purpose more deeply. Short, rounded ears enhance sound localization. The shape, the size, perfectly designed for nocturnal threat detection in thickets. In dense vegetation, where sight is limited, where darkness obscures, sound becomes critical. The rounded shape captures sound waves, focuses them, allows the quokka to pinpoint direction. The snake is there, to my left, 3 meters away. Even through dense brush, even in complete darkness. Those ears mapping the acoustic landscape, detecting the rustle of danger, the slither of threat, localization precise enough to know where to run, which direction offers safety, which path leads away from danger. The ears as radar, as early warning system, as survival tool, small and rounded, but remarkably effective, perfectly adapted for life in the thickets, in the darkness, in the dense vegetated world of the quokka. The quokka's diet, we know, consists mainly of leaves and grasses, but there's more to the story. Strong front limbs and sharp claws dig tubers and roots. Those forelimbs, powerful, capable. The claws, sharp enough to break soil, to excavate. The quokka digging, scratching at the earth, unearthing what lies beneath. Tubers, swollen underground stems, rich in starches, and roots, fibrous, nutritious. These supplement the leaf-based diet, adding variety, adding different nutrients, different chemistry, perhaps minerals concentrated in roots, perhaps carbohydrates stored in tubers. The quokka as excavator, as digger, not just a browser of surface vegetation, but an explorer of underground resources, expanding the menu, broadening survival options. Those strong limbs, those sharp claws, tools for accessing hidden food, for surviving when surface vegetation is scarce, for thriving through diversity of diet. You're drifting so peacefully now, your consciousness like a boat on calm water, barely moving, just floating, so still, so quiet. These images of quokkas, their ears, their digging, they pass through your mind like gentle dreams, barely substantial, hardly there, and you're so relaxed, so beautifully at ease. Your body has released everything, all tension, all holding, all resistance. Your pure peace, pure stillness, pure restful presence. This is exactly what you need. This gentle knowledge, this peaceful learning, this slow drift towards sleep. You're doing so well, so very well. Quokka society, their social world, has structure, complexity. They form complex hierarchies via body language and scent marking in family groups. Not simple, not random, but organized, ordered, body language communicating rank. A dominant quokka stands tall. A subordinate crouches low, postures conveying status without words, without sound and scent marking. Those cheek glands we learned about, marking territory, but also marking status. I am dominant here. I claim this space. I outrank you. The chemical signature carrying information about age, about size, about social position. Within family groups, these hierarchies maintain order, reduce conflict, everyone knowing their place, their role, their position in the structure. Not oppressive, just organizational. Social architecture built through evolution, through generations of group living, through the necessity of cooperation and the reality of competition. Body language and scent, the twin pillars of Quokka social order. Geography and genetics interweave, creating patterns, telling stories. The Muddy Lakes population on Swan coastal plain links genetically to southern forests. Muddy Lakes, a specific location, a particular group, their DNA revealing connections, ancestry, history. They share genes with southern forest populations, indicating common origin, indicating movement, migration, mixing, perhaps in the past, when habitat was continuous, when quokkas roamed freely. These populations connected, interbred, shared genes, and now, though separated by distance, by fragmented habitat, the genetic signature remains, the DNA remembering what the landscape has forgotten. Muddy lakes and southern forests, linked by invisible threads of heritage, of shared ancestry, of common past. The genes telling stories that observation alone could not reveal. Science reading the hidden text, the molecular history written in every cell. Notice how your thoughts have become so sparse, so infrequent, like stars in a cloudy sky, mostly hidden, occasionally visible, but the darkness predominant, and you're so comfortable in this darkness, so at home in this quiet emptiness, your mind resting, your body resting, everything at rest. You've let go so completely, surrendered so thoroughly. There's such peace in this, such deep, profound, healing peace. You're exactly where you should be, drifting, floating, barely aware, mostly asleep. This is perfect. This is exactly right. Continue releasing, continue softening, continue drifting away. We've touched on this before, but let's appreciate it anew. Quokkas belong to the macropod family, that large family including kangaroos, wallabies, pademelons, many species, many genera, a diverse family, widespread, successful. But within this family, quokkas represent the sole species in genus Cetanix, alone in their classification, No sister species, no close relatives sharing their genus, highlighting their evolutionary isolation. They split off, diverged, took their own path, and no other species followed, or if they did, they went extinct, leaving the quokka alone, the only Cetanix, unique, distinct, isolated in the tree of life, a single twig on a large branch, standing alone, representing a lineage all its own, evolution's experiment, successful enough to persist, but never radiating into multiple species, never diversifying further, just the quokka, alone in genus Cetanix, for millions of years. Look closely at quokka fur, that coarse brown covering, and appreciate its function. Their coarse fur provides insulation against both cold nights and hot days in variable climates. Dual purpose, dual protection. On cold nights, when temperatures drop, the fur traps air, creates a layer of insulation, holding body heat close, preventing loss, keeping the quokka warm. And on hot days, that same fur protects against heat, reflecting sunlight, creating dead air space, preventing overheating, the same adaptation serving opposite needs, protection from cold and from heat. Southwest Australia's variable climate, cool winters, hot summers, Mediterranean patterns, and the quokka's fur handling all of it, coarse enough to be durable, to resist thorns and abrasion, but effective as insulation, as climate control. The simple brown coat, unremarkable in appearance, remarkable in function, engineering in every fiber, survival in every strand. Your breathing has become so soft, so gentle, barely perceptible, like the whisper of wind through grass. You're balanced on the very edge of sleep, that beautiful threshold, and you're so peaceful there, so calm, so completely at ease. These facts about quokkas, about their fur, their isolation, their genetics, they're just sounds now, just rhythm, just gentle presence accompanying you towards sleep. You don't need to remember, don't need to retain, just let it all flow through, flow past, dissolving like mist. You're so skilled at this relaxation, at this surrender. Well done, so beautifully done. Body size varies by location, by habitat. Adults typically weigh 2.7 to 4.2 kilograms on Rottnest Island, about 6 to 9 pounds, compact, manageable, but slightly less than mainland counterparts. The island quokkas smaller, lighter, due to resource differences. Rottnest Island, despite its protection, offers different food, different vegetation, perhaps slightly less nutritious, perhaps more limited, and over generations, the island quokkas adapted, becoming efficient at smaller size, requiring less food, less energy, while mainland quokkas, in richer habitats, in diverse forests, can grow slightly larger, can afford more mass, geography shaping body size, environment determining how big is optimal. The quokkas unconsciously optimizing through survival of the fittest, those best sized for their particular habitat persisting, breeding, passing on genes for that optimal size. Island versus mainland, a subtle difference, measurable, meaningful. The quokka's reproductive speed is remarkable. Gestation lasts 26 to 27 days, less than a month, among the shortest gestation periods for macropods, just 26 or 27 days from conception to birth. Remarkably brief, and this brevity serves a purpose, enabling rapid replacement of lost joeys. If a joey dies, if it's ejected to escape predators, if it fails to thrive, the mother can breed again quickly, can become pregnant again, can produce another joey within weeks instead of months. Fast turnover, quick replacement, resilience through rapid reproduction. The short gestation period as adaptation, as strategy, allowing the quokka to maximize reproductive output, to recover from losses, to keep trying, keep breeding, keep producing the next generation. Speed as survival strategy, brevity as evolutionary advantage. Feel how your entire body has melted, softened, become formless, like you're dissolving into the surface beneath you. No boundaries, no edges, just peaceful merging with comfort, with rest, with deep relaxation. Your mind so quiet now, thoughts barely existing, awareness barely present. You're almost entirely asleep, almost completely gone into rest. And this is so beautiful, so peaceful, so exactly what you need. Let yourself drift even deeper, even further, into the warm darkness, into the gentle emptiness, into sleep itself. You've earned this rest, this peace, simply by being here, simply by listening, simply by allowing. Water shapes where quokkas live. Even when they don't drink it directly, they prefer habitats near seasonal streams, these creeks and waterways, flowing in winter, perhaps dry in summer, but creating a corridor of moisture, a zone of higher humidity, more succulent vegetation, and quokkas use proximity for hydration without direct drinking, staying near the streams, browsing on plants that access groundwater, eating vegetation enriched by moisture. The stream itself, perhaps rarely visited, perhaps never drunk from, but its influence spreading through the plant community, through the soil moisture, through the microclimate, and the quokkas reading this, choosing habitats near water, not necessarily to drink, but to access its benefits indirectly, through the plants, through the enhanced growth, through the moisture and vegetation. Proximity as strategy, nearness as advantage. The stream supporting quokkas even from a distance. even without direct contact. Camouflage works best when it matches the environment from multiple angles. We know about the quokka's brown fur, but there's more. Fur lightens to pale yellow on underbellies, the ventral surface, the bottom, where the quokka's body faces ground. That fur lighter, paler, yellowish. This aids camouflage against sandy soils. A predator looking up from below, perhaps a snake on the ground, sees pale yellow belly against pale sand, against light soil, blending, matching, hard to distinguish, countershading, darker on top, lighter below, breaking up the silhouette, making the three-dimensional animal appear flat, less visible, the gradient of color, dark to light, top to bottom, serving protective function, each shade matched to what it's seen against. From above, dark against vegetation. From below, light against soil. Camouflage considering all angles, all perspectives, all potential threats. You are so deeply at peace now, so profoundly relaxed, your consciousness barely flickering, like a candle in its last moments, about to go out, about to surrender to darkness, and you're so ready for that, so willing, so open to complete rest. These gentle facts about quokkas, about water and camouflage. They're the last whispers before sleep, the final sounds before silence, and you're receiving them so peacefully, so calmly, barely aware, mostly asleep. This is mastery. This is grace. Continue softening, continue releasing. There's nothing left to hold, nothing left to maintain. Just let go, completely, totally, into sleep. Territory means different things to different animals. For quokkas, it's fluid, flexible. No strong territoriality exists among them. No fierce defense of boundaries. No aggressive exclusion. Instead, overlaps occur freely around food without aggression. Multiple quokkas feeding in the same area, sharing space, tolerating each other. No fighting, no displays, just peaceful coexistence. Perhaps some dominant individuals get better positions, better access, but everyone gets to eat. Everyone shares the resource. This lack of strong territoriality, this tolerance, perhaps evolved because resources are patchy, unpredictable. A quokka defending a territory might find it empty of food next season. Better to be flexible, to share, to roam, to access food wherever it appears. Territoriality, too rigid for the quokka's world. Better to overlap, to coexist, to tolerate. Social flexibility as survival strategy. Cooperation through tolerance. Peace through lack of rigid boundaries. Life is finite. For all creatures. For quokkas, lifespan reaches 5 to 7 years typically. Half a decade. perhaps a bit more, in the wild, with predators, with disease, with accidents. 5 to 7 years is the norm, but some exceed 10 in protected areas, on Rottnest Island, without foxes, with human protection. Some quokkas reach a decade or more, 10 years, double the typical span, showing what's possible when threats are removed. When protection is provided, 5 to 7 years in the wild, 10 or more in safety. The difference measuring the cost of danger, the price of predation, the value of protection. Each year a gift, each season survived an accomplishment, and those elder quokkas, reaching 10, reaching 15, carrying such experience, such accumulated wisdom in their movements, such earned age. Notice the weight of your body now, so heavy, impossibly heavy, like you couldn't move even if you wanted to, and you don't want to. You're so comfortable, so still, so deeply relaxed that movement is unthinkable. All you want is this peace, this quiet, this gentle drift into sleep. Your mind has released everything, all concerns, all thoughts, all engagement. You're empty, spacious, calm, and this emptiness is so peaceful, so healing, so exactly what you need. Well done reaching this state. Well done maintaining this peace. Now just let it deepen. Let it complete. Let it carry you fully into sleep. Open spaces mean danger, exposure, vulnerability. Quokkas understand this. Avoid this. They avoid open areas, sticking to locations with under 50% canopy cover for predator evasion. 50% or less, meaning at least half the sky is blocked by vegetation. At least half the ground is shaded, protected, covered, hidden from aerial view, from scanning eyes, open grassland, clear ground. These are dangerous. These expose the quokka to predators, to attacks from above, so they stick to vegetation, to thickets, to areas with overhead cover, even if it's just 50%, even if half the sky is visible. That's the limit, the threshold, the preference, probably for even denser cover, for complete overhead protection. But 50% the minimum acceptable, the boundary between safe and dangerous, between hidden and exposed, canopy cover as protection, vegetation as shield, the quokka knowing, instinctively, to stay covered, to avoid the open, to prioritize concealment. Humans work to preserve what remains. Conservation efforts track 9 fragmented mainland groups to prevent local extinctions. 9 groups. We learned about these 9 distinct populations, and conservationists monitoring each one, tracking numbers, tracking health, tracking genetics, trying to prevent local extinctions, the disappearance of individual populations, each group precious, each population unique, carrying particular genetic combinations, particular adaptations. If one goes extinct, that uniqueness disappears forever, cannot be recovered, so the tracking, the monitoring, the intervention when necessary, trying to ensure all 9 persist, all 9 survive, working against habitat loss, against predators, against fire, against all the pressures pushing toward extinction, conservation as resistance, as determination, as refusal to accept loss. 9 populations, 9 focuses of effort, 9 groups deserving protection, deserving a future. Your entire being is at rest now. Body, mind, spirit, all of it quiet, all of it peaceful, all of it surrendered to this moment. You've journeyed so far tonight, absorbed so much knowledge, and maintained such beautiful peace throughout. You're barely here anymore, barely conscious, mostly asleep, and that's perfect. That's exactly right. Let yourself go the rest of the way. Let the last thread of awareness dissolve. Let sleep take you completely. You deserve this deep rest, this complete peace. You've done everything right, everything perfectly. Now just release and sleep. Activity patterns shift by location, by safety. On Rottnest Island, where predators are minimal, quokkas show crepuscular activity peaks at dawn and dusk. Crepuscular, active at twilight. At the transitions, dawn, when night fades to day, and dusk, when day fades to night. These in-between times, offering advantages, balancing foraging with reduced predator risks, light enough to see, to find food, to navigate, but not full daylight, not maximum heat, and most predators, those that remain less active at these transition times, diurnal predators settling down, nocturnal predators not yet fully active, the twilight times offering a window, a gap in danger, and the Rottnest quokkas exploiting this, feeding at dawn and dusk, resting during full night and full day, crepuscular rhythm, adapting activity to safety, to opportunity, to the particular conditions of predator-free Rottnest. Social bonds matter. Even for quokkas, they engage in social grooming within family groups, not just self-grooming, but mutual grooming, one quokka grooming another, using teeth, using paws, cleaning fur, removing parasites, strengthening bonds through mutual fur cleaning, the physical contact building connection, building trust, building relationship, family groups maintaining cohesion, maintaining affiliation, through this gentle, intimate act, grooming as communication, as cooperation, as care. I will clean your fur. You will clean mine. We support each other. We are family. the simple act carrying meaning beyond cleanliness, beyond parasite removal, social grooming as social glue, holding groups together, maintaining bonds, quokkas caring for each other, tending to each other, being family, not just by genetics, but by action, by mutual care. Feel yourself letting go now, letting go of everything, even awareness itself, your body so relaxed it's almost not there. Your mind so quiet it's almost silent. You're dissolving into peace, into rest, into the infinite calm of approaching sleep. These final facts about quokka activity, about grooming, they're barely registering, barely noticed, just gentle sounds in the darkness, just soft presence as you drift away, and you're so ready, so willing, so open to complete surrender. Let it happen. Let sleep take you. Let consciousness fade completely. You've done so well, been so present. Now it's time to rest, to sleep, to dream. Fire and vegetation regrowth create opportunity. Quokkas' preferred swamp habitats feature early cirral stages burned within the last decade. Cirral stages, the succession of plant communities after disturbance. Early cirral, the first stages, the initial regrowth, burned within the last decade. Fire recent enough that vegetation is still recovering, still young, and this young vegetation, this regrowth, offers tender shoots, fresh growth, nutritious browse, better than mature vegetation, easier to digest, richer in nutrients. So quokkas prefer these recently burned areas, these recovering swamps, areas that might seem damaged, disturbed, are actually preferred habitat, providing optimal food, the fire creating opportunity, creating preferred conditions, through destruction, through renewal, the burned becoming the preferred, the disturbed becoming the desired, nature's paradox, where disturbance creates advantage, where destruction enables growth. We've learned quokkas can climb, unlike most macropods. Now let's see this in detail. Unlike wallabies, quokkas grip tree trunks briefly with forepaws to access leaves up to 5 feet high. 5 feet, about 1.5 meters, matching what we learned before. But the mechanism, the method, gripping tree trunks, those forepaws wrapping around, claws digging into bark, holding, supporting weight while hind legs push up, climbing the trunk, reaching higher, accessing leaves 5 feet up, then dropping back down. The grip brief, temporary. Not sustained climbing like a koala, just enough to reach higher foliage, to expand feeding options, unlike wallabies who cannot do this, who lack the grip strength, the forepaw dexterity. The quokka evolved this ability, this adaptation, adding vertical dimension to their foraging, adding access to resources others cannot reach. brief trunk gripping, simple but effective, expanding the menu, expanding survival options. You are almost entirely asleep now, almost completely gone, just the faintest awareness remaining. Hearing these last words, these final facts, and then releasing even that, letting even this fade away. Your body is at complete rest, your mind at complete peace. You've absorbed so much tonight, learned so deeply, all while drifting into this beautiful, profound relaxation. You deserve this sleep, this rest, this peace. You've earned it simply by being, simply by listening, simply by opening yourself to this experience. Let go now, completely. Let sleep have you, embrace you, carry you away into darkness, into dreams, into deep restorative rest. Finally, social structure among males, dominance and hierarchy. Males dominate large family groups peacefully but fight over females or shelters using displays rather than constant aggression. Peaceful dominance. Most of the time, the dominant male leading, occupying the best shelter, getting priority, but without constant fighting, without endless conflict, just position established and maintained through presence, through displays. But when it matters, when females are in estrus, when choice shelters are disputed, then fights occur, displays first, posturing, showing size, showing strength, and if displays don't resolve it, then actual combat, brief, decisive, establishing who wins, who yields, and then back to peace, back to coexistence, using displays rather than constant aggression, conserving energy, avoiding injury, fighting only when necessary, only when the stakes justify the risk. Male hierarchy, maintained through minimal violence, through efficient conflict resolution, social order without chaos, dominance without tyranny, structure with peace. Most of the time, you have done so beautifully tonight, traveled so far, learned so much, and maintained such perfect peace throughout this entire journey. Your consciousness is barely present now, just the faintest flicker, and even that is fading, going out. Surrendering to sleep, you are so deeply relaxed, so profoundly at peace, so completely ready for rest. Let yourself have this completely, totally, without reservation. You deserve this sleep, this healing, this restoration. You've been so present, so open, so willing to learn and rest simultaneously. Now release everything, even this last thread of awareness. Let sleep take you fully, completely. Let go and rest and dream. Let's gather these final learnings, whispered so softly, barely audible, short rounded ears for sound localization in thickets, nocturnal threat detection, Strong limbs and claws digging tubers and roots, supplementing leaf diet. Complex hierarchies through body language and scent in family groups. Muddy lakes population linking genetically to southern forests. Sole species in genus Cetanix. Evolutionary isolation. Coarse fur insulating against cold nights and hot days. Island adults weighing 2.7 to 4.2 kilograms. Slightly less than mainland. Gestation 26 to 27 days. Shortest for macropods. Rapid joey replacement, preferring habitats near seasonal streams for indirect hydration. Pale yellow underbellies camouflaging against sandy soil. No strong territoriality. Peaceful overlaps around food. Lifespan 5 to 7 years typically. Some exceeding 10 in protected areas. Avoiding open areas. Staying under 50% canopy cover. Conservation tracking 9 fragmented mainland groups. Crepuscular activity peaks at dawn and dusk on Rottnest. Social grooming within family groups strengthening bonds. Preferred swamp habitats with early cirral regrowth from recent burns. Gripping tree trunks briefly to access leaves up to 5 feet. Males dominating peacefully. Fighting only over females and shelters. Using displays over constant aggression. All of this, the Quokkas' sensory adaptations, their social structures, their survival strategies, their peaceful coexistence, their remarkable resilience. Breathe it all in, one final time. Hold it gently in fading awareness, and release. Let it all dissolve, fade away, disappear completely into the infinite darkness, into the perfect silence, into sleep. Sleep now, deep, dreamless, perfect sleep. Let go of everything. Drift completely away, into rest, into healing, into the gentle embrace of night. You're safe, you're calm, you're at peace, you're home, in sleep, rest, 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 deeply, peacefully, completely, forever.